something longer. We need to make sure there's no gremlins in the machine.
Longer. Need to make sure there's no gremlins in the machine.
Jesus God. What have I done? Ryan, why don't you check your mic, man?
I can see that I'm good here by the lines and dials and shit going, so.
Is there no audio?
It's up.
No, I'm talking to the chat.
Oh, I can hear it. I
Audio-
got the
audio
other
sounds good.
feed coming in too.
Cornholio, give me a mic check.
Yes. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Wow. How are you guys? Thank you for having me on.
Does it sound like anyone is screaming through a can?
No.
Besides me, because that's
I
pretty
would
much
hope not. That would not be good.
I hear the great Cornholio is super quiet.
Cornholio is super
This is why we do
quiet.
this.
Okay.
This is why I wanted
Let
to
me
do
see
this.
what I can do.
Yeah, because I don't have individual mic.
How's that?
There you go.
He gets
Alright.
louder, don't worry. Awesome.
I get louder as the episode goes on.
He's got to drink his caffeine? Is that what it is?
Drinking something, but I can't really say what.
Much better. All right, huzzah.
So
All right.
Why
We
can't
ready?
he share what he's drinking? Now I'm curious, and I must know this answer.
Unless it's illegal where you live, there's no reason not to say it.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you know,
That's
I don't know if
true.
this is a PG-13 show
No,
or...
God, no.
Fuck
No.
no.
The name of the
fucking
show is
kidding me?
Unfiltered.
What the fuck are you
Yeah.
drinking? How's that?
I think
Dude, we broke him.
Did we
Oh,
break Cornholio?
Cornholio, do you live?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
good.
not telling
Can
you.
you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I am drinking LaCroix Pamplemousse filled with Johnny Walker Blue and CBD oil.
Pampered moose?
Pamplemousse. It's grapefruit. I can't back that up. I can't find any CBD oil. I'm in Florida. But it's coming quickly.
You hear that Texas may have accidentally made weed legal
How the fuck do you accidentally?
with a poorly written law that legalizes hemp, and the crime labs in Texas are not outfitted properly to test hemp and tell it THC from hemp, so they can't prove a substance you have is weed or hemp. So district attorneys are throwing out cases left and right. Republicans are going insane. I think it's hilarious.
I'm perfectly okay with this.
Um,
Fuck it, let's go. You ready? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the fucking show. I am Man at Arms because reasons. With me, as always, Grindhead Jim and the ever lovable and cuddly Ryan.
Confirmed.
He is like a giant teddy bear. Don't let his facial hair intimidate you. This is fine. With us tonight, somebody I've been excited about for a while. If you don't know him, you probably don't have social media at all, and you're probably not hearing my voice anyway. But we have the great Cornholio.
Hello, hello.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me on. I've been wanting to hang out with you guys for a while, so thank you.
so, I'm gonna get.
You
this,
may
I'm-
change your mind by the end of the show.
I'm gonna get this right the fuck out of the way now. Is this a reference to Beavis and Butthead, or does this name come from somewhere else and I'm unaware
yeah.
of it?
Beavis and Butthead,
All
all
right.
the way.
Beautiful.
Good.
Okay. Because
And for the record, he is not threatening you.
I tried to order a Cornholio T-shirt, but I'm a big fat guy and they didn't have my size in stock, and so it wouldn't get here till Wednesday. so I just was making sure I wasn't trying to order the wrong thing.
That's Beavis
Next
and
time.
Butthead. I'm a pretty big fan. Actually, my good friend got me into Beavis and Butthead, man, so many years ago. It's been like 10 years ago now. And we actually end up podcasting about Destiny every week, just like you guys. And we've been playing quite a lot. And I'm talking like 6,000 hours plus. It's been a fun journey in Destiny.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So well, your podcast is the Destiny Show, which
Yes, sir.
you've been around for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's weird uh, to hear that because in a way it feels like we're just getting started, right? Because we actually started podcasting around the same time that you guys got started. It was back in January, right when they made the big announcement that Bungie and Activision were splitting up, and I decided, you know what? Fuck it. Let's start a podcast. We've been wanting to do this for years. I registered the domain name like in 2015. Let's get this going. So I made a commitment to get things figured out. We started out using Skype. Don't make fun of me. I know.
No, we
No.
tried.
Yeah.
It was a thing.
It was a thing that happened.
Yeah. We stopped after like episode 6 when our guests were like starting to give us like weird looks that we were using Skype. They're like, Skype? Like, are you sure you want to use Skype for this? And I heard about Discord being a thing that was used for recording, but I didn't really know how to use it. So I ended up doing some research, went on YouTube, looked up some videos, and got on the grind. And yeah, here we are, 32 episodes later.
We took a lot of
So-
time off. Things happened.
Yeah.
There were hangovers.
So we have
We said
Go.
we have a
things were
couple of
broken.
unaired episodes that we're holding back for a reason also.
Dude, we have like 50 of them. I never tell this to anybody, but we literally recorded 50 episodes and they were like dog shit. They were so fucking bad that I couldn't bring myself to post them, get to know how to at that point. So it's been fun, man. It's been a grind, but between learning how to edit and learning how to like use Twitch and how to not embarrass yourself on air, stuff like that. You know, you learn.
We
You
never
learn
learned
as you
any
go,
of those
but it's
things.
been
That
like
that
6
does
months
never
for us.
cross my mind once, actually.
Yeah, that's
No.
not a thing
Kind of
for
go
us.
with it.
Nah, we're straight up.
I mean, as long as I'm wearing pants.
It's a win for us.
Oh,
There
we
you
were.
go.
That was supposed to start this week.
Pants?
I mean, I
Oh
didn't.
man,
I mean, it's on a trial basis.
I can go put some on if you want.
Don't stand up.
Okay,
Not stand
that's
up.
fair.
Thank you.
That's fair. All right. Sorry.
What are we doing?
I mean, if we're talking about embarrassing ourselves, this is probably the only show I've ever been on that I didn't cry on. It's a matter of time before I cry on this show.
Well,
So-
once we get the strippers on, you'll probably cry, right?
Fuck's
The
sake.
kind of strippers that we can afford, yeah, I'll definitely cry. Cry out loud.
So,
Dads!
Cornholio,
Anybody want a dads?
before we actually went live, we started having this conversation, and let's just go here and get this out
Oh
of the way.
God.
How did
Why?
you start playing Destiny? Want to tell
Oh
that
yeah,
story?
this is fine. I thought.
Okay,
never mind.
well-
Really, asshole? I'm
the way
not
I
going to
started-
derail it at the first 3 minutes.
The way that I started playing Destiny, first off, Destiny was supposed to be my in-between game because the next Call of Duty game was coming out, okay? At that point, I was playing Call of Duty Ghosts with my best friend, Jason. And at that time, we were pretty hardcore about clan wars. We were always playing every weekend. We were always playing the PvP stuff in Call of Duty Ghosts. And we were getting ready for the next Call of Duty game. We pre-ordered it. Destiny came out, and I actually convinced all of my friends to pick up a copy of Destiny because we were going to have to wait till October to play Call of Duty, and that was just fucking unacceptable. I can't wait that long. So we needed a game to play. I played Halo Reach before, really enjoyed it, so I thought, you know what? Let's check it out. And we played the beta, we really enjoyed it, and we kind of stuck with the game. It became kind of our home, and we played ever since. It kind of became a tradition to always, stay up and listen to Destiny music while we wait for the next expansion to come out. Always have the new content on day one ready to go. Take a sick day off work. You know how it is being a guardian. So that was kind of how we got started, and I really love Destiny as a game. It kind of became my hobby, and I would listen to podcasts like Fireteam Chat and from IGN, and also um, the guys on DCP, and that kind of made me want a podcast as well. So, and
I've never heard of either of those. Have you guys?
Never heard of
This
them.
this IGN. What is this?
Yeah. What is that? Is that some kind of pixelated gaming outlet? They talk about.
They do a lot of advertising there.
Is that the moving pictures? Is that what they cover?
I think they talk about stuff that
That nobody
games.
cares about.
Heard of Pong?
That's bait, and I'm not taking it. Fuck off.
Yeah.
No, thank you. That's bait.
So, Cornholio, were you a Halo guy before Destiny, or is this your first
Kind
real
of.
Bungie?
Kind of. I really loved Halo Reach. I think Halo Reach got me into PvP stuff a lot more. Before that, I played Call of Duty just to play zombies or to play the campaign. And with Call of Duty Ghosts, or not Call of Duty Ghosts, excuse me, with Halo Reach, it made me want to play PvP more, like Capture the Flag or King of the Hill, stuff like that, and even things like firefights. That was kind of my first entry into end game cooperative stuff, like firefights that came out with Halo Reach.
Fair enough.
So that was kind of how I got. I did go back and played some of the older Halo games, but I will be honest, they don't really age well for me. So it's kind
I
of
don't
hard
think
to
age
play
well
Halo
for
1.
anybody.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I tell you though, I am very excited to see what they're doing with the Master Chief Collection for PC. To see if bringing them onto PC and the engine upgrades and everything, if they're gonna make a difference, or if they're gonna be kind of the same as what the Xbox was.
Well, like I played the Master Chief Collection on Xbox One, and it definitely, you can tell there's a huge difference as far as like the presentation, the way it sounds, the way it looks. I mean, it's definitely Halo, but the gameplay mechanics. To be honest, having played a Destiny, like anytime you put me into a situation where I'm a space guy and I'm shooting aliens, if it's not Destiny, I'm kind of like I'm nonplussed for the most part.
Yeah.
Basically, I got Doom and I got Destiny, but the question is, does it feel like Halo but updated? Yes.
Having,
Oh yeah, very much so.
Having gone back and played the Master Chief Collection on Xbox, the game felt really slow after having played Destiny for a while. And that's my fear more than anything, is just it's going to be slow.
Yeah,
and my problem is, I built a computer, I kind of went all out, and I have a high refresh model. Did not realize that was going to ruin my gaming experience on consoles. It did.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to go back from 140 frames to 30. It's almost jarring. So
It physically can hurt. Like, I have a buddy that gets real bad headaches from it. It's normal. Like, that's a thing. Absolutely a thing.
I love this conversation. This is why Rick walked away, I'm pretty sure. He hates these technical, conversations.
I didn't even know it was coming. That was just serendipitous.
Fair enough. So, Jim, I guess while we're doing this, why don't we tell your Destiny story? Because I don't know that we've ever gotten that one.
Oh, well, that's an easy story. And I first heard about Destiny was the year before it got released. It was in E3 2013. I was like, that looks interesting. Like, Bungie's coming back with a game. And my initial reaction, I have it on video somewhere because we were doing like live coverage for it. And I'm like, oh, open world Halo. Okay, cool. Like I'll play that. That'll be fun. And that was the end of my interest in it at the time. I wasn't really heavily into like all of the, you know, all the news channels and all that stuff, checking stuff out for Destiny. For me, it was the big thing for that generation for me was going to be Watch Dogs. I was like, oh, this is going to be my game. And don't get me wrong, I love Watch Dogs. It did not turn out that way. Supposed to go to E3 2014, the year that Destiny came out, as part of Sony's PlayStation MVPs program. They had a pass for me and everything. They had all kinds of stuff lined up. And I had just started a new job. I couldn't get the time off, so I didn't get to go. But I did get all the swag that was going to come with it, and they mailed me the code for the Destiny 1 alpha and then mailed me the rest of the stuff. The alpha, once or twice, it was like, this is pretty fun. A few beers, it was late at night, so I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening. I was just shooting and having fun. I was like, this is pretty cool. And I put it down. Then the beta came out, and they gave it a really solid look, and immediately turned into Tyrone Biggums from the Chappelle Show. And for from the time the beta was over until Destiny launched, you could, if you watch my YouTube videos leading up to the release of Destiny, you can see me start to scratch my neck and be like, okay, all right. And then I would every second at work, I would scour the news to see any morsel of news about Destiny and and just sit there and freak out. It was bad. And it came out and I never really stopped. I've several thousand hours into both games, and I'm a happy guy. I've weathered all the stuff. I'm that guy. I am that guy. That guy in the dictionary is just a picture of me going,
God,
my Destiny story.
I don't know that I want to do this, but Rick,
I've told this story so many times, everyone knows it. It's my stepson got me into playing Destiny because it was played by himself and would not, if it wasn't match made, he had no hope to do it. So he'd get hung up on the campaign, and he'd ask me how to do stuff every once in a while, but I wasn't actually playing video games. And then he's like, okay, I've been fucking with this boss for 2 days. I can't beat him. Can you come try? I'm like, watch this. Because I had played so much Halo, so just once I figured out what it was, I can't remember what it was, to be honest with you. But 2 or 3 goes, and it was he's like, that was amazing. You need to play this more. And long story short, because of his OCD, I selected Hunter because Titan was already taken. And then it just got to the point to where I was playing on his account more than he was. And he's like, why don't, so he bought me an Xbox. And he's like, now we can play together and, you can be whatever you want. So I started from a level 1 character, and I was like, well, I'm going to become a Titan now. This is fine. And the rest, as they say, is rock and roll.
I bet $5 that boss was probably Fogoth. I'll bet you that. And I really want to fight Fogoth and Shadowkeep. I'm just saying.
Now, what did you guys play the most in Destiny 1?
Activity or character?
Yeah, that's...
activity.
I ran so many strikes until the December before Age of Triumph. I was just I'm going to try and learn how to play PvP better than just showing up and collecting my loot and going home. And
right,
literally has spent a week now. I haven't even played anything else but PvP and a couple menagerie runs, and that's pretty much been me for 2 years.
Yeah, the Crucible bug bit me not long after launch, and then Iron Banner bug really bit me spring of 2015. Got really into it. Iron Banner has always been my favorite activity ever since, even when it wasn't great. I just like that concept. I like the high stakes without it being crazy like Trials. But for Destiny 1 for me, it was Crucible, and then raids, and then whatever else needed to be done. Because I was doing a lot of like raid carries and stuff like that with Destiny 1, and Destiny 2 is pretty much the same. I just don't raid as much, and that's just because of the structure of things right now. And I think with cross save coming tomorrow, you're going to see me doing a lot more raids and stuff like that.
Oh shit!
Like, what about you? Like, what's your favorite stuff? Ryan
What
didn't answer the question.
what do you
from an
mean?
asshole.
Oh shit!
Go ahead.
Oh shit! What happened?
Oh no, Jim and I were having a phone conversation this week, and we were talking about the cross save stuff. And I think Jim's plan was to try out the cross save before the podcast, like to link the account. Did you get that done, Jim?
I linked the account as soon as it went live. One of my clanmates, Chargerhawk, messaged me and says, "Dude, it's gonna go live." And we refreshed the page. Ooh, it's live right now. So I went ahead and I linked it. And then tweeted it out that the PC account link was live before Bungie did. So
Yeah. I did it.
yeah, he did. He created a Steam account and did the thing. Like, I'm fucking super.
I was like, I guess I need to do this.
So because I have literally been working on a tractor all day, I didn't get a chance to test it out. I was curious, how easy is it?
Dude, crazy easy. Like,
I did it on my
insanely
phone.
simple.
Well, if Rick did it,
Yeah.
then I already know the answer. So okay.
Yeah, but like I went, and then like I sent Jim like a picture. I'm like, okay, it's done.
I was lit. Like, I sat here at my desk and I was like super impressed. Like, I thought you might get to it like later, like after work, or I'd have to walk you through it or something.
That day will come. There'll be something else, but that day will come.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm fine with it. Like, it's cool. No issue with that.
Well, there was no news this past week.
None. Zero.
All right, we'll show over,
Not
guys.
at all.
Thanks.
Cool. Good show. Fuck off.
I was gonna ask Cornholio. I was like, so of the metric shit ton of things that have come out between Luke Smith and the reveal and the trailers and everything that's happened the past week, what are you most excited about on its face?
That's kind of easy for me because I'm super excited about going back on the moon. I have really enjoyed playing on the moon in Destiny 1, so being able to go back there, it's going to be really, really fun. Also, Eris Morn is one of my favorite characters in Destiny, so to see her come back, that's another really big plus for me. And I've always enjoyed playing raids in Destiny. My favorite raid, Vault of Glass, but I enjoyed all of them. Maybe Spire of Stars, not so much. I have kind of a love-hate relationship with that raid. But
Never
other than
actually
that
done
one,
that one.
That's
I
the
haven't
one
done
with
it
the
once.
intergalactic trampoline, right?
yes, it starts where you have to pretty much dunk a bunch of balls around. The
Yeah, ball dunking. It's basically one gigantic endgame teabag session.
pretty much,
I'm out.
I'm down with that.
right?
From
Actually, a
the
lot of fun.
From the
It's a really
description
good,
alone.
like, high movement.
I was just timing out. Boop. Ignore me.
Oh yeah, no singing in the
Normer!
no singing in the
Little
chat.
Venture Brothers reference.
Oh shit.
The moon's gonna be
We
pretty cool.
time out our
Like,
own mods at this motherfucker. Sorry.
Oh.
But we talked a little bit about what Luke was kicking down first part, but he did two more since. And the big ones we're talking about how power progression is going to go and multiple changes and just kind of some philosophy stuff.
Do we
you know-
have a halfway decent summary of all that, or is that not really a thing, or is there nothing there to worry about?
There's
Because
plenty there, actually.
I can't,
There's a
I
lot.
cannot read that man's writing. I don't know.
I
What
can give it to you. No, I'll give it to you.
No.
You don't want to know?
No, it's only a 90-minute show.
Oh, come on. I'll shorten it.
Give
Just
him the
hold-
choice cuts.
Right, exactly. I'm going to give you the stuff that you might actually have interest in.
Go.
They're lowering the number of powerful reward pursuits and trying to make that something that is a set system moving forward, so that the game just doesn't keep giving you like endless, mindless tasks of things to do. So it seems like a chore. They're upping the level of world drops to where you can actually get a world drop. There's a chance it'll roll at your current light level, which may result in a power increase. They're changing all of.
Before you go too far, I did catch the 750. Everybody starts at that, or you're automatically buffed up to that on day. So, I did catch that.
Exactly. Put your gear at 750 day one. So don't roll anything up. Don't waste your materials and shit. Leave it go. They talked about how you'll get up to 950 with regular stuff. Then you get from 950 to 960, which is the new cap. You have to do pinnacle end game stuff, and if you don't do it, you don't get 960. Period.
Which I like that a lot.
So it does give you that kind of a prestige thing, and you also have like with the artifact, which unlocks artifact-specific mods for armor and weapons. As you level that up, each XP level you get to up your light by 1. So instead of getting the XP level up, it actually adds a bonus to your light. So if you're 940 and you've leveled up 4 times XP wise, your effective or is 944. So it kind of has this direct impact on your light. And there's a couple things about that that's not light specific, but it is a bonus. It doesn't affect your drops. So you won't be getting 944 plus drops. You'll still be getting it based on the 940, but your in-game effectiveness will be reflected with that. They're changing all the playlists around. Quick play is gone. Comp is gone. They'll have a 6v6 control playlist. You can go on there anytime you want. Quick play as it exists now will be replaced with a classics playlist that has control, clash, and supremacy. The same matchmaking we have now. Changing matchmaking overall to be a skill based rather than connection based. They're basing it off of not just your win loss, but also your effectiveness in game, and your glory rank will be calculated based upon your effectiveness in the game on top of win-loss ratio. So if you lose but you did really well, you'll get out of it and stuff like that. So there's some really cool stuff coming. Bringing back elimination. Like there's a ton of stuff. Like it really looks like PvP looks bright. The end game looks to be something that actually isn't going to be like, well, I gotta wash the dishes now kind of bullshit. Like I think they're really making some big strides. But everything they talked about made it really clear that this is where we're starting. There's more we want to do. Please keep telling us what you like, what you don't like. We'll keep adjusting because this is going to be a growing thing. Very different from the day where, well, here's what you said this, so we did this. More of a, we're trying to fix this. Here's our first try. What do you think? Which I think is a really good place to be in. Like, do you think is that, because to me that's very different from like a year, 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a level of transparency from Bungie that we've never seen before. Between the roadmaps that Bungie has been showing us months before the content is even out, and for them to be so upfront and honest about their design philosophies and the changes they're making and the feedback they're taking, I think they're a much different company than where they were when Bungie first came out with Destiny.
I think they can afford to be, and they also can't afford not to be. I think it's a weird position for them to be in. They
don't have that evil overlord sitting over top of them either, kind of squashing down some of those ideas, if that makes sense. So,
I saw a set of Vex armor today, and I will kill someone in front of their own mother to get this Titan armor. I'm just throwing that out there.
You probably will only have to pay silver, so don't worry about
it. That would piss me off if it's not like raid armor. If it's raid armor, I'm in. But if it's just like you buy this, I'll be like,
the reason that
fuck.
reason that people think it's not raid armor is because that picture is on the page that talks about the season itself. So I believe that I don't know if the raid is attached to the season or if the raid is attached to Shadowkeep. So if the raid is attached to the season, then it probably is the raid gear. I don't normally roll the raid gear either. If I had to venture a guess, though, that's probably the Eververse armor. It probably is.
Well, shit.
But it's really good looking armor, though. So
Not the same.
I get it.
It's fine.
I get it.
Ryan,
What? Oh, you want me to wait a little bit longer before I get into my next set of questions? But Jim, what I was going to say when you were rounding up your very concise description, everything that you said in my feeble brain kind of went MMO, more MMO, RPG, mechanic stuff, and maybe it's a lack of imagination. Maybe that is truly the direction they're going. Just that's what it felt like you were talking about, is more like that 950 to 960 really feels like mechanics I played back in WoW and City of Heroes and those kind of games where like you get to the level, you get to your cap, and then it's like, okay, to get these other little things you got to go do this, and that feels very MMO to me, and that's what that extra 10 light feels. And then of course some of the things that I've seen, with the extra slots and stuff on how you can set up your gear definitely feel more MMO, more almost transmog in a sense of how you can set up your gear.
Yeah.
It feels like transmog light almost.
Yes. And that's definitely what they're going for, and I think we're going to see more of that system as time goes on, obviously. One of the things I found really interesting is like a lot of people had some concerns about the element affinity of certain mods. So like believe arc is hand cannons and shotguns or whatever, and then so depending upon what element the armor roll with is what kind of mods it can take. Well, they were very quick to confirm that your armor rolls an element randomly. So the idea is to kind of encourage you to grind for the gear you want. So you want the right stat roll and you want the right element, or you want the right stat roll and multiple elements so you can swap out armors and all this stuff. I think that's really cool. And then the artifact mods that you earn throughout the season, which does reset every season, those mods are element agnostic, so you can put them on anything. And
I like that you don't lose your mods either. They're just there and you can just use them. They're not what is it, expendable? I forget the term that they use. Consumables.
It's not a consumable.
Right. It's just there. So.
And what I think is really smart is that they're treating the artifact a lot like it's like the mods version of the Crucible labs where they're testing things. So any mods that perform well or need tuning may find their way back into the game permanently under no obligation to keep them in the game after that artifact expires, right? So I think that it's a very good built-in balancing tool, a nice test bed, and it gives us something else to chase. Like, I'm digging it. Now, from as far as the gear chase side of things go, like with all the armor changes and the artifacts and the mods, Cornholio, like, what is it you're looking at as far as like pursuit stuff that you're really into?
I like weapons. I've been more so into weapons than I've been into focusing on. I've never really been big on, trying to customize my build too much. I tend to really like Iron Banner art, and that's usually the armor I kind of stick with throughout my gameplay. I'm pretty boring when it comes to that, but I like to chase after that god roll. Like, I always want that weapon, whether it be the Beloved or the Awstringer. Still have not gotten my swarm of the Raven with spike nades. Rip. And I went through like 750 Iron Banner tokens. Still can't get it. But I divulge.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm a hoarder, I hung on to like a lot of different grenade launchers over the course of the last year. I got rid of a lot, but for some reason I just hung on to a handful, one of each. And when that was a huge craze, people were like, "Oh my god, spike nades!" I'm like, "What?" And I went back.
Got spike nades everywhere.
And I rolled a few, and I couldn't get it. I wonder if I have anything that has that on. And I looked up 4. I already had 4 in the vault.
Bang.
Grenade launchers that had good rolls. I was like, I'm good. And then just went through and did the quest on all 3 characters in 1 week like an idiot. I just completed the Solstice armor on Sunday for my 3rd character. And today I was streaming. I was like, well, now what do I do? I had nothing to do that I really had to go away at. But you'd mentioned that you stream, you play the game, like you said, 6,000 hours between you and your buddy. There's nothing really chasing. What's your idle play? Like, what do you just go for, just to kind of get at it?
Now, lately, I've been chasing after my shadow title, so it's a lot of attempts at flawless menageries. I kind of stopped playing Crown because I did get the Teraba, so at this point I'm just waiting to get with a group so I can get my flawless completion done with that. And just Solstice armor now. I'm actually working on trying to get the purple set on all 3 of my characters.
Oh my god.
And it's grindy. It is so fucking grindy. And I love the game, but it's the grind is real, and you don't have much time. I really wish they extended it until September 17th. I don't get why they wouldn't do that. Give us more time, please.
They're not going to.
Cornholio, where do you play at?
I'm on PC now. I pretty much it's hard for me to play on consoles. I'll be honest. I log on and it's like the frames are so bad on the Xbox that I just can't bring myself. I can play a PvP match, I'll get frustrated and just go do something else. I will lose interest. So yeah, primarily I play on the PC now, and occasionally I try to hop on and play Destiny 1 on Xbox, but not as often anymore.
You can't go home again.
The last time you were there, was there really anybody there playing anymore? I jumped in a couple nights ago and it was empty on PS4.
The last time I played, it was in June, and it was my buddy's birthday, and I wanted to surprise him with a Destiny 1 Vault night, Vault of Glass night. So we played the Vault of Glass raid with all of our friends, and we celebrated his birthday playing VOG. It's pretty awesome.
There's still D1 sweats every weekend.
Oh yeah, you're always gonna have sweats.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's like Fight Club. They're not going anywhere.
Dude, they're bringing back 4 different versions of Elimination in October.
I'm good at none of these, so this is fine.
What do you guys think about the state of the game that Luke Smith came out with?
It was way
pretty
too
extensive.
long.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty long.
That was a brutal read. Like, if you're gonna do that, Luke Smith, and the next time hire somebody that's a voice actor to give us an audio book, not a goddamn thesis.
I will read it for free. I'm just throwing that out there. He can write whatever he wants.
I want more to read that thing.
And if you don't want to take
probably can't afford
the offer of reading it for free, I will pay you to let me read it. So you'll make money. Like, I'll buy you a 6-pack of beer of your choice.
There you go.
Make money on it. And, I promise to be way more attentive than I am on this damn show.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I read the first paragraph, like I mentioned last week, I think it was. And then I waited for Rick Kakis and Fallout to make videos explaining to me what I didn't have to read anymore. And I did all 3 of them in less than 14 minutes. It's fine.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you are to, Destiny news, which I am with lore. I don't sit and read the things. I don't try to link things together. I don't have any of the introspection that a lot of our friends have. I depend on our friends to break this down for me. Break this down for me so I can understand it even after I've had a few beers.
Just,
When it comes to like Destiny news
I
and
want the
patch
people
notes,
that are
I'm like,
smarter
gimme,
than me
gimme,
to give it to me.
gimme. And for some reason, like I'm a pretty technical dude. Like I love really digging deep into this stuff, and you know. But when it comes to the lore, just feed it to me. Spoon feed me the lore. But everything else about the game, I will just throw it in my mouth, and I will swallow it. There, I said it. Yes, that
Oh,
was my
dude,
head there.
phrasing.
Yeah. All right, let's get the hell out of this. Cornholio, tell us what is your podcast? Like, what is your fundamental, basic idea behind your podcast? Obviously, it's Destiny, and I'll give you an example of like kind of the mission statement for ours, so that maybe this will help kind of explain the question. Our mission statement, kind of when we set this up, was when you listen to most podcasts, the guys that are doing that podcast, they're the top 1% of players out there, or the top 10%, if nothing else. And when they talk, they're really kind of speaking to the other top 10. We're the bottom 1% of players out here, and that's the group that we're kind of aiming for.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, okay, Jim's not on the radar. But, we want to get the everyday Joe kind of Destiny player, not the top tier guys, and that's who we want to kind of aim for and talk to. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, what's your mission statement for your podcast?
So I think our mission and our identity and what we're about as a podcast has evolved over time. I think when I first started out, I just wanted to have a platform where I can talk about the game I love playing. I mean, I played the game for 4 years at that point, thousands of hours, and I would talk to my friends about the game almost on a daily basis, but I didn't really have a platform. And I wanted to have a platform that can help make the game better, to offer feedback on a game that we've been playing so much to help make it into an experience that people can enjoy. Because you could tell the developers are really passionate. Like, I've read every single Bungie weekly update that came out since when Deej was writing them every single week. Like, I've been pretty hardcore about this game, and this game has been a pretty big part of my life. I've met a lot of awesome friends through Destiny, and Destiny allows me to hang out with friends who I may not be close by to, where I can hang out with them on a daily basis face to face, but I can still hang out with them online in this crazy cool world where we can play through all these different activities. So that's how it started
Dude, you
out.
are so nice. What are you doing here?
What the fuck?
I asked him.
Okay,
You
well,
made,
let's get
like the
let's
most
get not
wholesome
so
person we've ever or will
Right?
ever have
Like-
on the show.
So, I wanted to start a podcast, right? So, and I'm like,
I'm gonna
what the
interrupt
fuck
you.
am I gonna do?
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick because I'm ignorant to this. Do you have co-hosts, or is this a one-man show and you bring on guests?
I have a co-host who is my best friend, who we actually started playing Des together,
Okay.
and we've been podcasting ever since we started out. I wanted to figure out how to make the show unique and different, and the idea that I came up with was to have guests on the show. And I don't know how I got really, really lucky. People said yes. I asked. They said, we'll be on the show. And it all kind of happened from there. More people were interested in being on the show. And we grew into a podcast that allows us to learn about the people behind the game that we play. The content creators, the YouTubers, the streamers, the developers, pretty much anyone who has an interesting story to and they are part of the Destiny community, they're welcome to spend 60 minutes talking about themselves and giving us a chance to learn about who they are. We're not going to talk about Destiny per se. We're just going to learn about them as individuals, and then we'll talk about the current events that are happening in Destiny. It could be a discussion about Solstice of Heroes, or it could be the weekly update discussions that we have where we dissect the TWAB every week and we talk about that and give our feedback and thoughts. So hopefully if developers might be listening at some point, they can get feedback that can help make the game better. And it allows us to do something a little bit different in the community and to have our own little spot that makes us unique and different.
So you try to bring something to the community and the game and try to affect positive change and help people learn about things that otherwise may go unnoticed.
Exactly.
Sounds like the polar opposite of this show, which is just here to cause havoc and be chaotic.
I mean, some men just want to watch the world burn.
Like Rick and Ryan and myself, we like a good fire now and again. Yeah, I'm of course I'm taking the piss, but it's really cool that you do that.
The interesting thing is that after you have guests on the show, you gain different perspectives from individuals who could change your mind about how you aspects of the game. For example, I always kind of hated the publisher, but we had Rami Ishmael podcast, and such an incredible human being. He won, he won so many awards. He runs Vlambeer Studios, really down-to-earth guy. Like, we had a 2-hour interview with him. Not even talking about anything else, just talking about where the gaming industry is coming from with how everything functions and how it runs and why things run the way they do. And I actually came to really appreciate publishers like Activision for what they do as well, because oftentimes we would just kind of shit on them because they're just scumbags who are trying to take our money and trying to milk us with microtransactions. But all of these individuals are also facing unique challenges that we may not normally think about, because they did drop $500 million on a gamble, essentially. They gave that money to Bungie and said, hey, build a video game. And the reality of that is that you also have to recoup that money and pay for everyone involved in bringing the game to life.
Do you think when Bungie and Activision broke up, it was kind of like the engagement ring where they said, we want it back?
Oh, definitely. And they said, we're taking that. Right. They went all in. They actually, it was a pretty big milestone because Bungie was able to retain all rights to the game, which is actually such a pretty big thing.
That never happens.
That does not happen. And I don't know the details behind that transaction, but
we will never
in the long run, I think it benefits the franchise as a whole because it allows Bungie to build the Destiny that everybody wants rather than a Destiny that's defined by a publisher and financial results. So, but at the same time, you have to keep the lights on because they have 600 people working for them, so they have to fund all of that. And I'm sure it can't be easy for them to do.
Saying they need electricity for this? Lies.
Yeah.
Talking crazy.
I mean, if they get 600 people, they could just build a treadmill in the back, just have
people want to get paid.
Yeah.
Just bullshit, man.
Yeah, as soon as you get off, you have to go on the treadmill and then come back. And you still avoid the crunch because they're doing that instead of developing. So I think it would work, don't you? I mean,
wasn't that an episode of Black Mirror?
Actually, I was thinking.
If not, it should be.
I was thinking more like the episode of Rick and Morty when they all had those little boxes that they had to dance on to power the car. No.
I don't watch a lot of cartoons.
Oh,
Not against it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
so I forget what they called those boxes that they use for powering the city. So, what was the most fun or interesting guest you had on your podcast?
them in exposure.
By the way, Rick, you can ban that asshole. That's my son. That keeps.
I agree with them. Fuck that.
That's really tough because I really enjoyed a lot of guests, and I think some episodes are really stand out. The one I'm most proud of was our excuse me, Rami Ishmael episode. I think that was probably the one I was most proud of because he's a pretty big individual in our video game industry, and to have the opportunity to interview him, it was such a big honor. He was a great guest. Houndish was an amazing guest. CJ Gibson was really, really awesome. Who actually is going to be working at Bungie, so big congrats to him. I mean, and you can tell these individuals are so passionate about the game because not only do we hang out for about 30 minutes before the show starts just to get all the technical, kinks out of the way and to, kind of have a water cooler discussion to make them feel comfortable and welcome on the show. But CJ literally spent almost an hour and a half just hanging out after the show, just talking to me about Destiny and his perspectives on the game. I mean, to have people really be so passionate about something that you're also passionate about, it's really, really cool. So I can't really pinpoint one specific guest that was my favorite, but the Rami Ishmael interview was one of my highlights, I would say.
If you ever want to feel inadequate as a human being, ask Young Kong to come on your show. That man does more in a day than any of us do in a lifetime.
Yeah, he's a busy.
Gotta pay bills, man. Gotta pay the bills. If you're hanging out in chat with us live and you have any questions or anything, here's your 15 minutes of glory. Throw it in there, and you'll be invited to the gates of Valhalla or whatever the fuck it is. I said I forgot.
Did we do Twitter questions this week, or did we forget?
I mean, I drink.
Fair enough.
You too? Me too. I think that's a theme.
So
I mean, that's a thing. Happens. I'm a very busy dude, man. I can't remember everything. Like, to post a tweet once a week, this is too labor intensive.
But we might need to get that software to schedule them for you.
Would be fine. My claim to fame for the past week was I knocked out all of my kills for Revoker in basically 2-3 days. 8-10 hours worth of gameplay. And I was like, okay, great, I'm done. And I jumped on last night and legitimately lost about 1,600 glory in 2 hours. Awesome. There was no way to pull it.
Now, do you lose progression when you lose glory towards that weapon?
Not on the quest. Any games you win,
Okay.
It goes to your total for the quest. And you don't lose that. It's just my overall. I was I think I went in at 2,600, give or take, and I left at 985.
We gotta
because I literally won one game. My entire play session.
We got a question in chat. We'll direct this towards Cornholio because I think we've all covered this. How do you feel about what Luke Smith said about everything that's coming to the future of Destiny, and also with cross-save, do you think it will succeed? I think the first half of that question we kind of answered earlier, so we can kind of quickly go through it if you want, but the future of cross-save, is this going to be another private matches situation? Or don't nobody use it?
There might be some bugs along the way. You know, it
Yeah.
might not be a perfect launch, but I think that cross save is the first step to getting crossplay, which inevitably will happen. Probably not this year, maybe fall of next year. I think it definitely is looking like we're going to get in that direction, especially with hardware becoming more powerful. The new Xbox Scarlet will be coming out. The PlayStation 5 will be coming out.
Rick will
So
finally buy a
the
monitor
this,
for his computer.
right. So yeah. So and the disparity between the frames be lessened. So now people on PC can realistically play with people on console and still play things like competitive and not feel like there needs to be that separation. The
So,
other big thing is we're losing out that PlayStation had on Destiny. And that's a pretty big step too, because now the company can't say, oh, you can only have this content be available on this one platform. So I think that's a pretty huge step as well.
Yeah,
And
I think
regarding the
that's an easy
leaks,
thing to forget because we already accept that as being where things are. But even 6 months ago, that was the understood future of Destiny, that it was going to have some exclusives here and there, and now that's just gone. I think a lot of people are glossing over that part of the step forward. I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah, well, it almost feels like part of the whole breakup between Activision and Bungie was a result of all of these things, all of these barriers that were stopping from Destiny to evolve into where it's going with new light and probably with cross save. So these are all pretty big steps for the game, but
the,
I also think that Bungie is taking on a lot of risk with all of this
the
because
going free to play definitely feels like a side effect of losing Activision.
yeah, well, they got to a point now kind of had to do that because the player base wasn't growing, it was actually dwindling. And especially with how PvP was treated this year, and I got a chance to meet a few Crucible players who felt like Bungie abandoned all of them because Trials was no longer available. Like they took a big part of the game that was so important to them that was no longer there. So this is almost like a rebuilding stage for Bungie where they have to rebuild, they have to fix a lot of things that were wrong with the game. 4v4, they pretty much came out and said, hey, it was a mistake. So we're going back to 3v3. I'm curious to see how they handle new Crucible maps because even during the third um, reveal that Luke Smith wrote, he talked about how there weren't any immediate plans for Crucible maps besides the two old maps that were being brought back. So I'm almost curious to see, are we getting any new Crucible maps in Shadowkeep? I would surely hope so, beyond the two that were just returning. So there's a lot they still have to do with the game to really make it a place that people come back to. I think the people who are playing the game now are going to continue playing the game no matter what because we are the most loyal fans of the franchise. So unless they really screw up like another Osiris expansion, I think that we're going to be playing, but now they have the challenge of bringing new people in
Is
and convincing the people who are going to be playing games like Borderlands to
that's
buy Destiny
and that's
this
kind of
fall.
my question: is Destiny in a Star Trek situation? In Star Trek, what I mean is they can't onboard new fans to save their life. They can only service the people that are invested since day one. You don't hear about 20-year-olds running out to go watch whatever the new Star Trek is. You don't hear about young kids really wanting to pick up Destiny now. When there's a game launch, Destiny 2, yeah, they would go do it, but you're not talking a young person into playing the game now. You're not going to get them started. The barrier to entry almost seems too big.
I got
Yeah.
a lot of young guys that work with me at work, and they're always asking me about it. And they play like Call of Duty, Apex, Minecraft, which is probably not on topic, but that's neither here nor there. But the more they ask me about stuff and I answer questions or I'll tell them stories and everything, they're starting to get like more and more like curious about it. Just from, like I'll show them a video and like I got one guy, he's like, I don't even play this game and I want to play this game now. I don't even know what's going on.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying it at the point of
Well,
destiny that we're in, there's just
what I was gonna say is though they never actually play it though,
mm-hmm.
or buy it. They talk about, yeah, dude, that sounds really cool, but yeah, nobody follows through on it.
So
Yeah. I think that Destiny has a very loyal fan base, a very dedicated fan base. The people who were with them since the Halo days.
Right.
And also, that generation is getting to a point where a lot of people who played Halo don't really play video games anymore. They've moved past that in their lives, but not everybody. So they really have to get new players into the game, into the franchise. And that's going to be their challenge with Shadowkeep, to bring people back who stopped playing the game. And some people will come back, and I think that the content we're seeing is very cool. I think it's awesome. But I think it's awesome for people like me who really feel the nostalgia from going back to the movie. I don't know if they're going to be able to give us enough content to bring new people back who would normally expect a full-sized game. And that's going to be really interesting to see are able to overcome that. Can we get a campaign that is worthy of a sequel to Forsaken? Because everything else that we're seeing looks really, really awesome. I think Nightmares is going to be really awesome. They're probably going to bring a really cool horde into the game. The raid looks amazing. We're going to go into the Black Garden. And Eris Morn. I think Eris Morn is one of the best characters in the game. And we needed that. We actually lost a pretty big character when they killed off Cade. And we needed somebody like Eris Morn back. So it's going to be interesting to see how the story progresses. And let's not forget everything that happened with Mara Sov and Prince Aldrin and what's going on with the ships, the darkness. I think everything's going to come together in a really, really fun way for all of the Destiny players who are playing right now.
Everybody's
I got nothing to follow up on that.
everybody's thinking.
I mean,
so, like, I've been excited about everything since I've seen it. And it's like, okay, yeah, that looks really cool. That looks really cool. This sounds cool. And truth be told, I didn't really get excited until today when I saw the trailer, and it's just all the Vex. Because the Vex are my absolute favorite thing to shoot in Destiny.
That was
And it's my favorite. It's my favorite villain. So I'm just watching this and I'm like, but that's like my favorite thing. Like, so that hit me a little bit harder today than anything else. It's like, because yeah, everything else is awesome, but it's like, oh, we're gonna fight Vex.
so
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in.
And back when we started our podcast, Luke Smith came out and said not everything has been lost in the dark corners of time. Where is that from? Vault of Glass. Who were the main protagonists? The Vex. It's going to be really cool to see them come back.
no.
And
Back
Go
in
ahead.
D1, maybe it was in the early D2, there was rumors of a scrapped Vex DLC, and there was even some footage that was put together for a announcement, like announcement trailer, like what we got yesterday or today for this one. And if I'm not mistaken, some of those clips look like they were taken right out of that leaked footage. Are you guys aware of this, or does anybody recall this at all?
you mean you mean the Vex, the footage that's in the trailer?
The
for the
footage
Vex
in the
being,
trailer
old.
looks like it was
Yeah,
recycled out of that old.
it was. Yeah.
But and I don't know anything else about it. But and I don't have any details on the canceled Vex DLC. Just it, like I said, that trailer I know launched at the time that rumor was coming around. Somebody found it and posted it on YouTube, and a lot of that footage looked like it was straight out of that original trailer. So the reason why I bring it up is I'm wondering how many of those ideas I can't remember if that was a D1 expansion or if that was an early D2 expansion that was rumored. But I'm wondering how much of this one, the Shadowkeep, they're bringing that stuff back because maybe Activision was the one that squashed it or whatever. And they're like, well, we can finally put this in the game now. I just don't know if you guys remembered that or recalled. Like Rick's looking like he's completely confused right now.
No, it's an interesting point because how many ideas or projects that they wanted to do that maybe got shelved or tabled because it wasn't in line with what the distributor wanted them to put out on their timeline. So it's like, okay, this is going to take too much time. Maybe this doesn't look profitable enough. Or, okay, this is something we'll put on the back burner and revisit it down the road. Like the whole The Last Word lore storyline. That's something that started the beginning of D1. The very beginning of D1 with the flavor text and the weapons. And they just now come around to retouching that story again, year 5. And I wondered if maybe that's partially the reason some of the story was kind of chopped up in D1 was, well, we can't really go through with this, so we're going to go over here, we're going to put this over here, and we'll come back, and then we got to go in this direction. Like, Siva came out of nowhere. That was like, wait, what?
Siva,
what is it?
Siva
what is this?
felt like a mechanical version of the Flood to me. Like, it was like, oh, what do we have that we can throw in here real quick? We have the Flood. Oh, no, we can't use that. Make of machines. Okay, we can do that. That's kind of what that felt like to me.
So, I mean, like, there's just a lot of things, especially when you're talking about, like, writers writing stories, and I can't imagine how long it would, the physical time it takes somebody to build a raid.
Yeah.
Like how many man hours, just the conceptual design of it. You're like, okay, do you sit down with like graph paper and like map it all out and go, okay, this is what's in my head. I have to now put this concept into some kind of medium where people who can build this shit can do it. So it's, stuff like that interests me. But I'm sure that, you have deadlines and you have projections and you have quarterly things you have to do when you're being run by a corporation that it's not negotiable. This has to happen. So some of the not pet projects, but I guess like, I can't think of the term right now, but projects that are like passion projects, you kind of have to go, well, yeah, this is really cool. This would be awesome, but it's not really going to work with the amount of resources and time we have. So not telling you to delete it, but we need to go over here and do this.
And I think that's one of like the big advantages to where Destiny's going now. Like, Bungie has that kind of agility and to be able to say we can realistically do in this amount of time, and has that open dialogue and transparency where if something's not ready, like, dude, this isn't ready, and they can push it off. And I'm not going to piss anybody off but the fans and themselves. As long as they're being real about it, to us, I don't think it's going to have any huge impact as long because, when they delayed Shadowkeep, everyone's like, do it, delay it. And with the trials thing, I got to be honest. Nation's coming back in these Crucible labs, and they're giving us some agency over what form trials is going to take, which is way better than them like saying, here's the trials that you want, and just giving us something and us saying, no, fuck you. I think that what you're saying definitely speaks to where they're going. I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, I think the response that we got from Smith during 3 was much better than the previous response that we got to about Trials. And I think that the previous response was something along the lines of, we don't have any plans for the Crucible at this time, which almost made a lot of people speculate, is Destiny a world that's going to exist with the Crucible moving forward. Because if you recall, right before Forsaken came out, the Crucible design leads came out and made some pretty bold statements that all new maps and content will be available for all players. And after Forsaken came out, there wasn't anything in terms of new Crucible maps, and I think that really hurt
Yeah, which was like
the community in a big way. On top of not having any pinnacle activity that we want to be a part of, we did get comp, we did get the pinnacle weapons, but was it really enough? Did it really move the needle, right? And I don't know if it did. I think Crucible still, it's improving because now the company is saying that we're committed to continuing Crucible and fix the Crucible, but is this going to be a game that will have a competitive landscape that can be taken seriously in the future during esports, right? Because that's a pretty big segment that Destiny hasn't really tapped into as of yet. And I think there's a lot of opportunity there as well.
I think there always has been, and I think Bungie's always wanted Destiny to kind of go in that direction. I think Destiny 2's launch definitely was a big fuck out of here in that moment where it wasn't going to happen. I think that with the changes that we're making in Crucible now, where you've got 3v3s, you've got 4v4 stuff, you 6v6, and they're trying to really kind of retune Crucible is. I think once they're satisfied with what Crucible is, and when the player base is happy with it, I think you'll see a lot more tournaments. I think you'll start to see a lot more things happen. Just basically, as soon as elimination in whatever form it's in gets added to private matches, off to the races, dude. Because as soon as elimination goes in private matches, you're going to have ridiculous amounts of competitive matches. I'm telling you, as soon as they do that, we're good. We're gonna start seeing all kinds of cool stuff. I'm super fucking stoked. I also think there needs to be a wider range of other game types. They need to have a lot more customization there. But I think they're being careful not to bite off more than they can chew. They want to fix what we have, tweak it a little bit, add a little bit, make sure they're tweaking as they go along, and then once they're like, is everyone cool with this? And everyone goes, yes, this is good. Okay, now we'll do more. Rather than trying to do too much, fucking everything up, and then we have another year where it's like, okay, back to drawing and shit. I think they're being smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like another thing with, like we were talking about with maps, if they're retuning the sandbox, it's really hard to bring a new map in because, size constraints. If you don't know what sandbox you're going to be playing in. So it's like, well, like the maps we have now, they're made for 8, not 12 people.
And that's part of why they're pulling like a couple maps that are just like, these aren't working. Which as soon as I heard that surged 2 maps. One, you're getting rid of maps that maybe no one likes or just don't work. And you're lowering the install size. They didn't say.
Oh, okay.
They did not say anything.
Can one of them please be Equinox? I'm just saying.
I wonder if it would be feasible for them to take the maps they have now, and even if they are made for 4v4, can they make them into a 12-person map? Can they make the changes to the map that will fundamentally change the meta for how the map functions and flows? And is it feasible for them to do? Because I know they're working on a lot of things, and they have seasonal content they have to produce to keep us playing the game after October 1st. So they have a lot on their plate, on top of having to pretty much rely on publishing their own game, which isn't an easy task in and of itself. So that's why, like, when I first heard about Bungie and Activision are splitting up, I thought, are they fucking nuts? Like, they could barely keep up with creating their game, let alone having to worry about publishing their game. Like, why would they do that to themselves? And I almost still kind of feel like if they had a publisher, it would allow for more resources to build a better Destiny rather than focusing on the publishing side of things.
There was a wise man that once said, "Mo money, mo problems."
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Who
And
is
that
this
man is
fine?
Cornholio
Yeah.
today.
I think it
Although-
was
I love
oh,
Coolio.
Method Man. Was it Coolio?
No.
Seriously? I don't spoilers. Hip hop. I think good hip hop died in like '94. So sorry out there, hip hop
It was
listeners. Old
Puffy.
school, I don't remember that.
It was
Was it
Puffy.
Puffy? Okay.
Puffy and Biggie. B.I.G.
But like,
Never mind. Sorry.
but the whole thing is like, it's like if when we're talking about like shareholders, holders, investors, which really that's what a publisher is. They're an investor. And because they're putting up the money, they can make decisions. You've got to clear certain things. There's legalities and all this crap. And the fact of the matter is this: in a game like this, where they can kind of make money almost at will by making content that appeals, every 3 months they could see a windfall from each season selling well, and then they have an expansion that does well, or like they were talking about, like the Whisper ornaments pretty much paid for the development cost of the Outbreak Perfected quest and all this shit. Um, they have the means to make more money at will, develop the way they want, how how the community wants the game to go. Although they're not going to have this advance of money that Activision was giving them, they have the power to pivot and turn on a dime. In some cases, give you 9 cents change because they can make that happen. I would rather them take the risk, possibly have some financial woes, but once Bungie proves definitively that Destiny is going in the direction that the majority of players want, which I would argue they already have proven that's the goal, now they have to deliver and execute on that promise. And once people universally agree with that, I don't think they're going to have to worry about money again. I really don't, dude. Like,
Yeah, no, a publisher brings some benefits, but they also bring the other side, which is they're going to be standing back there going, we need our content now because we need to make money now. Which I think...
They also bring fees.
Yes, but I think the big benefit that we lost with Activision, which is, you have this community that is so ravenous for new content. And everything that Activision did wrong, I think they were the gatekeeper to Bungie going, we need stuff now. Get it done now. And whether it's broken or not, at least they were getting content out fairly regular. And Bungie does seem to have a history of, fuck it, we'll do it when we feel like it.
But I also think that the old Bungie wasn't as disciplined as they are today, because they realized that their livelihoods are on the line. If Destiny as a franchise dies, they don't have jobs. So they have to take it more seriously. They have to be passionate about the game, and they are. They want Destiny to be a better experience. But I think Luke Smith did mention this during the State of the Game. I don't remember if it was part 1 or 2, but he talked about how the content in a game is being built a year before it's even out. So they don't really have the time to respond to feedback that came out when the previous expansion came out, because this new content has already been in the works for quite some time.
and that's kind of where the benefit is to having these discussions that they're having now. That's why, like, and I know I keep coming back to the trials thing, but that's the most easily accessible version of this. Like, okay, here's what we're trying to do, and we know you want trials. We want trials. We have a few ideas. Go test them. Let's see what works and figure out where we're going to go. So it's almost like inviting us into the development process, where it, in a way, almost negates that issue they had before. Pardon me, don't you think?
Yeah. I think that Bungie is going through a really interesting metamorphosis right now, because they're becoming a more platform inclusive game where all platforms can come together and enjoy the experience. I'm actually very interested to see how they handle microtransactions, because with a free-to-play Destiny, they will have to ramp up what they do with microtransactions to some extent, because they'll need to monetize it, make some money in some way. So it's going to be interesting to see how they all bring that together, especially with all the legislations that are going on.
Well, I'll put it this way: like, my biggest thing comes down to, again, in terms of an easily referenced thing. I have seen more posts and Twitter posts about people saying, "I've never bought silver and now I'm going to buy silver," which is just free money for Bungie.
Yes.
So, and there are people, and now then you add Destiny New Light, which is a free-to-play point. People don't even have to buy seasons or expansions. They can still buy silver. You're going to have a lot of kids coming in that are like Fortnite players that are ready to graduate to something a bit more mature, rated T for teen. And they'll do the microtransaction because that's what they're used to. And then when they realize how seasons work, oh, this is like the battle pass or whatever, and they'll buy that. And I'm not saying that Destiny's going to take over the Fortnite fan base or anything, but I think there'll be a percentage of kids that are used to that sort of thing, that do want something different and are used to paying money.
Yeah, their parents' money.
I'm all right with that because it means we get cooler looking shit.
I'm just going back to all the Jim Sterling videos about kids taking in, dumping $4,000 and $10,000 from their parents' credit cards. And
if you have
I'm okay with it.
If it
goes in Bungie's pockets, I'm happy with that.
That's fucked up.
What? They can dispute it.
The lesson for the day:
if you have enough money to not
steal
notice
from your parents.
If you don't notice your kids are charging $10,000 of your money, you're a bad.
That's your problem.
Fucking problem. Holy shit!
You're a horrible parent.
You're fucking horrible at money management.
Well,
I can't buy a pack of cigarettes on my credit card. I can get a text message.
We also know that Bungie is very limited in how they monetize in terms of loot boxes. They do have engrams that you can buy, but they came out and even said they don't want for the game to be a matter of buying into a chance of getting something.
And you can see that they're going away from that, because I think they're going to see way more revenue from people buying direct, which is why they made their Eververse change. You'll notice that they flat out, without saying that in no uncertain terms, you won't be able to buy these engrams. They pretty much have said you can't buy these engrams moving forward. I don't think those engrams are going to exist anymore. I don't think there's going to be any more random stuff anymore. And if that means that what I'm doing each week is doing those bounties for Bright Dust and then direct purchasing with that or with silver if I'm so inclined, I would rather that be the system moving forward and sacrifice those random engrams. I like the random engrams just fine. If the store moving forward becomes a much more easy experience to do, because they even said you can access it from the director. That's one of the things they've changed, which means if you can access from the director, that tells me the engrams are probably not going to be a thing anymore. All the hoopla about loot boxes and random chance and gambling, that whole argument goes out the window. Right. And give me a menu of what I can buy. Let me choose what I want to buy.
By putting everything in the director, they're also eliminating a barrier to purchase items, where now you can do it from any place you're existing.
Right, so if you see somebody has something cool, where'd you get that? I got to remember. Hang on. Purchase. Done. It's just it's a smart move, and the people that don't want to buy don't have to. People that want to buy can. Everybody wins, nobody loses. Bungie stays afloat, and they're not broke.
Hey, Jim, we need to stay on for a half hour after the podcast so I can get you to record all those sound effects.
Once. Okay.
What the?
We'll clip it. It's fine. Oh. Well, guys, it's about that time.
It is.
Sun's getting low. Can't remember the rest of it. It's fine.
All right.
Oh shit, Dude, you are one of the nicest people I've ever talked to in my life, by the way. Just legitimately. Just a nice dude.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It was great being on. Thank you very much for having me on, and congratulations on everything you guys have been doing with the podcast. I know that it takes a lot of effort to put something like this together.
Jim does all the work.
More than okay. There's usually that one guy who pretty much has to do all the grind work, so makes sense.
It's the ball guy.
Spoilers, folks. We all each do a little bit of it, you know. And
Some of us less than others.
yes.
Depends on the week,
Yeah,
right?
but that's okay. That's okay.
Cornholio, where can people find yous?
Okay, so you can
Choose.
find me on the Destiny podcast. We have a website at destinyshow.com. And I usually post all the episodes on there. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and all those good platforms where people find podcasts. And I'm also on Twitter at OMGCornholio and on Destiny Show Pod. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me and what I do.
We're going to skip Jim because I made him poop himself. And he's not going to be able to stop laughing anytime soon. What the fuck? you had to be part of my Twitter experience today to understand why I was laughing. But anyways, if you go to our Twitter for the show at Unfiltered Pod, spelled really weirdly. I think the I is a 1. It has all of our links in there, so bring it to all of our individual channels, our individual Twitch channels. I have a YouTube channel I've heard rumor of. I don't think it really exists, but it's there. I've been told.
Seen it.
I'm not sure.
I've seen it.
We have an announcement about how to get to all of our stuff.
We do?
Now, our website's not done yet. Spoilers, it's not done. But URLs do work. If you go to destinyunfiltered.com/Twitter, it goes to our Twitter. If you go to destinyunfiltered.com/Twitch, it goes to this channel. If you go to destinyunfiltered.com/YouTube, it goes to our YouTube channel. And now, ding-da-ling, we have a Discord server too. If you go to destinyunfiltered.com/Discord, it'll take you right to the server. And it's unfiltered. Have fun. You've been warned.
We really have to put a not safe for work channel in that.
I can do that right after the show.
Basically, just don't go there. That's what we're telling you.
That's where we need the stuff that's going to show up to go. You put that here. This is where that goes. Because I know the people who follow us.
Jim, we got one other...
And you're all filthy bastards.
One other thing that Rick is slightly aware of, but not really. We're going to be doing a raid-along on day and date. We just don't know about the start time for the raid on October 5th. We may not be starting right when it launches. We might be going a little later based on work schedules. But we're going to try to invite 3 or 4 of you. If you guys are interested, hit us on the Twitters also. And we'll start putting together a raid team here in the next couple of weeks, I guess.
And I will be watching from work. It'll be fine.
Yes. It'll be fun.
But, any other closing sentiments, gentlemen?
Nope. You want to get a raid up or no?
I already got one rated up. Mr. Cornholio. Great and powerful. Thank you so much again for coming out and hanging with us. It's been truly an honor.
Dude, likewise. Thank you so much for having me on. It's such a pleasure to hang out with you.
And we will definitely do this again soon.
Keep doing what you're doing. Love your podcast.
We don't know what we're doing.
That's all right.
No clue.
You know what?
We don't have a
still
fun-
don't know how I'm doing.
No plans.
We bought our URL 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That is correct.
We've been doing this since January, right?
That is correct as well.
Hey, but to be fair, destinyunfiltered.com is the real spelling. There's no weird one. So it makes
The
all
one
that
was only
value.
to avoid the porn. sites. I'm telling you, man, it's a whole thing. We were there for that.
It was pretty bad.
It's a thing. It's really weird when you're like trying to find one and like your wife walks in and like, and what are you looking at? Well, that is porn.
I just typed in unfiltered. All right, good night, y'all.
Oh, thank you all for hanging out. We're going to do a raid. See you
Strippers.
soon. No.
I'm
No,
contractually
sir.
obligated to say that word at least once an episode now.
We're amending this after the show.
There will be new contracts coming your way.
Who is next week? I don't know. I'll tweet it maybe. So
I think you'll
enjoy that.
Something
See you then,
wicked
live and
has
unfiltered.
awakened. Nightmares plague our galaxy. Your past confronts you, Guardian. Put an end to it. You haven't seen darkness. Not yet. A great battle approaches.